Gamarjoba, hello, and Hocha latte to any Svanetti people out there. We're gonna talk about what that is in a second. From Georgia. Also, hola to my Espanol listeners and ni hao ma to my Chinese listeners, Putonghua, the three languages I have down that I know fairly well. Well, English, of course, and Spanish and Mandarin Chinese. Okay, but first off, waste of energy. We're in the 1 week or so where there's the Russian invasion of Ukraine. That's fairly close to here. So, you know, that whole thing's going on. Take what you will with my shirt here, but I've had this shirt for years. I feel bad for the people of Ukraine and the children, of course. And war, you know, war is terrible. It's happened all throughout history, though. And you know, we're going to talk about history. But anyways, okay. So, welcome to Drinking with Ray. Check in. March 2022. We've been in Georgia, called SAQARTVELO in their language, for about 2 months now. It's a cold, rainy, kind of snowy day outside, but our hometown is so far it's been Kutaisi, and it's super cool because this is the 50th city that we've lived and worked online abroad in the past 4 years, which is pretty awesome. 25 countries. I always lose track of the countries. All right, let's get to it though. We're in Georgia, the Republic of Georgia. SAQARTVELO. Is it heavy rain outside? I hear that. So this was a famous king of Georgia. This is the 100 lari bill. And if you could see him back there, that's the Queen Tamara, a famous queen in Georgia history. But this first isn't about Georgian history. We're going to talk about that in a second. I don't have the 50 bill that the Queen Tamara's on. She's super cool. Here, I'll show that right here, maybe. Anyways, I'm in the kitchen in our old 100-year-old house apartment that we've had here. Anyways, Drinking with Ray, that's what we're doing. And Georgia's special because it is the oldest evidence in the world of wine made from grapes that's super popular all over the world. Napa, California, you know, where I'm from is close by to there originally. But, you know, of course, the Romans and their wine and the wine culture in France and Australia and Spain and Italy, of course, you know, it's just, wine is everywhere. Could have originated here. And the date is incredible. 6000 BC wine originated. So they still make it in this homemade process, which the original wine is this golden one. This isn't, you know, they put it in water bottles. The original wine is this golden kind. So around 6000 BC in ancient lands, which the western part of Georgia was known as Caucasus. And the eastern part, where the capital is, Tbilisi, was Iberia. Oh man, so many historic stories to tell. I'm gonna tell those in a second, but let's focus on the wine. All right, I'm gonna try the first one, the original kind. We got this on the outskirts of town where there's a nice grocery store and this woman's restaurant. She gave this to us. Let's give it a try. Ooh, nice. A little bit kind of carbonated, which is interesting. You know, it varies. These homemade wines, people make them in their mountains and their farms and their homes. They've been doing it for how long? 8,000 years. That's insane. That's just incredible. You know, so they're really proud of their winemaking vessels. I think that's what some of those make. Really proud of their winemaking vessels and traditions and what the archaeological evidence is around in the South Caucasus nation of Georgia. Sorry, reading a little bit of notes here. 6000 BC, early Georgians discovered grape juice could be turned into wine by burying it underground for the winter. Ooh. So I guess they found some archaeological evidence of that, which is awesome. And they've been making it ever since. So it's famous for wine here. A lot of people don't know that. All right, let's try the red variety. You know, we've been traveling around Georgia, different places, and you know, it's obviously not Coca-Cola. We pick up things from local people and try to talk to them. And Gamarjoba, Kagimajos, Gamarjos. That was hello, and then a response to hello. Hello, Gamarjoba. A response to hello is Kagimajos. And cheers is Gamarjos. Ah, cool. SAQARTVELO language, they call it. All right, ooh, the red one's nice. I forget where we got this from. We've gone up into the mountains, which is called Svaneti area. We stayed up there one day, and that's their own people group. About 30,000 of them live up there, and they preserve their culture, and they have their own language. It's really interesting. A beautiful country up there, man. Oh, here, maybe I'll show a picture. I have this puzzle. I wanted to show this. Here's the map, the flag of Georgia. Okay, so this is the region where we are. Here's the Black Sea. It's kind of hard to see on the map, but we're right around here. So the northern part of Georgia, there's some huge, huge mountains, the Caucasus Mountains, where the word Caucasian comes from, by the way, which is a word to describe people of European ancestry, which is weird. How that originated, I'm not sure, but that's okay. Oh, I forgot to mention the wine. Okay, this one is a real red, nice grape variety. Talking like I know about wine. I'm more of a spirits and beer guy. We're gonna talk about that in a second. We're trying all kinds of things here. But first, the wines and the wine culture. Here's a local beer too with a historic name. I'm gonna talk about that in a second. Okay, so the old wine culture here is super ancient, and you could go all over the region and find different kinds of wines. It's really cool, and yeah, we got this. Jumping all over the place, sorry. You know, the past week with this war situation and being kind of close by to here, Georgia went through something similar in 2008, where 2 regions of Georgia are still occupied by Russia. You know, it's been a little tense around the city, but we're staying here. But if something happens, we have a exit plan by land. I've hoped for the best. You know, everybody copes with things differently. I don't blame you if you're drinking a little wine or something like that out there in this world that we're living in. So, and through all this time, we've lived in 50 cities all throughout the world in 25 countries, working online, geopolitics, the virus. Okay, let me focus on the story. Ooh, I like red wines better. Someone told us that this golden variety came first. That's the ancient style of wine. And it's weird because it must get really warm here. That's nice. It's where the grapes could grow. And let's try some more stuff, talk some history. Okay, so in the ancient times, there was a peoples around this region called Caucasus culture. And there's a Greek myth called Jason and the Argonauts that occurs here, which is, long story short, a hero from Greece, Jason, with Hercules and a bunch of other people come up here to get the golden fleece, and Prometheus is in a cave up there in the Caucasus Mountains, and the ship that they travel on is called the Argo to get up here. It's actually right near this region. Ooh, there's a Georgian language, look at that. They have their unique script here, which is really cool in language. So they get up here to Georgia, they meet with a King Aedes, and his family member Maeda helps Jason, and they defeat some creatures, and they get the golden fleece, and they go back to Greece. It's a famous story. And then later on, Prometheus is released from the cave here by Hercules. So ancient Greeks knew about this area thousands of years ago. That story supposedly took place around 1200 BC. So they were drinking wine, knowing about that story. There's also several Georgian myths and really cool stuff. I recommend, if you want to learn more about Georgia, the History of SAQARTVELO, Georgia podcast. Really cool show. Newish podcast. Cool guy. Anyways. Okay. So from my research so far, Georgia in the ancient times in this area was something called Caucasus, which morphed into kind of it did morph into a kingdom, and the capital was mostly agreed upon is here, Kutaisi, which is where Jason the Argonauts went, which is interesting. There's not a lot of ruins and evidence in the city. I might have to go to the museum to find out. I haven't been there yet. But they're drinking wine and warrior culture, and it existed way back thousands and thousands of years ago. It's just so crazy. I love that ancient history. So, fast forward a couple years, around the 800s BC, I'm not going off any notes here, Greek colonizers started going up around the Black Sea coast, setting up shop because the Black Sea is connected to the Mediterranean, and there's still ruins actually there. And cities like Batumi was a Greek colony, if you can see on this map, this puzzle. So Greek culture kind of morphed or mixed with the local Caucasus people, which are around here. The Greeks were on the coast, so they kind of, picked up the Greco religion and different things, and but like morphed together. It's interesting. So lots of more history, including how this is one of the oldest Christian places where Christianity was made the state religion way back in around 300 AD. Crazy. So sorry if I'm a little all over the place. Haven't been sleeping that much lately, and it's a little stressful being here close to war. But all right, let's focus on some history. Try some more drinks. There's a historic character of Georgia. Oh, here you can see the language really well. Look at that. Oh man, cool, huh? Oh, let me focus. They have a unique script here. It's an interesting language. Okay, let's try some more stuff. So, the Romans ended up coming here to this region. Pompey the Great, actually, who battled Julius Caesar in the famous Civil War of Rome before the Roman Empire started. One of two wars before the Roman Empire started. But this is a strange Georgian snack too, which is like this walnuts inside this hardened gelatin. It's interesting. Okay, anyways. The Romans came up here. Pompey the Great was inspired by that ancient myth. He thought there was more golden fleeces up here, so he came up and ravaged the area. Before that, the Achaemenid Persians had influence in the area of 300 fame of the Greeks, and before there was another Alexander the Great. People kind of came through here a little bit. And then there was a kingdom, of Iranian empire called Pontus. And then that's when the Romans battled Pontus. So that was called the Mithridaic Wars. So Pompey came up here and other Roman legions, and they destroyed a bunch of cities. And eventually the area came under the sway of Rome. But it was more like a client kingdom with a, ruler that, it's raining hard out there, a ruler that they, approved of instead of an official province. But, there was that connection with Rome and the Black Sea. But the Georgian culture, through all these rifts and changes, held on, which it always has because of its unique place in between the northern and southern, maybe I'll put a map up here, northern and southern Caucasus Mountains, which insulated its culture. Traditions like wine. Ooh, that one's really sweet. Anyways, so through the Roman times and around 300 AD, when Christianity started getting really popular, there was a woman named Saint Nino. I'll put her picture here. She was from Cappadocia, which is now in Turkey, but it was a Roman province. She was a Christian, and she was inspired to travel up here and bring Christianity, which she did. And she brought a interesting cross that's like, here, I'll show one here. It's like pointed downwards on the side. I've never really seen anything like that before. So, you know, she came up here and some miracle happened where she got the king to be cured, something like that, just going off of memory here. And the king decided the kingdom up here, I believe it was called Iberia at the time, is now Christian. One of the earliest, I believe with Armenia and Ethiopia, one of the earliest places in the world where Christianity became the state religion. So now they're the Georgian Orthodox Church. I'm going to explain what this is in a second. The Georgian Orthodox Church is big time. It's a huge, huge part of their culture, which, you know, I respect that. Every time someone sees a church on one of the churches on the hill, they do the sign of the cross, no matter who it is, young people, old people, and they go in the church and do the candle rituals, and they have the beautiful artwork. It's interesting, unique Georgian Orthodox Church. Not Greek Orthodox, not Russian Orthodox, Georgian Orthodox. Okay, anyways, where were we in the story? Let's explain this. So this is called Chacha, which is related to this wine, but is a lot stronger, like 50% alcohol by volume, liquor, spirit. So this Chacha is in a very, very similar process to Raki and Rakia in the Balkans. The leftovers and the skins of the grapes from making wine is put through the distilling process and creates this Chacha, which comes in all kinds of varieties. You know, homemade kind like this. People sell it everywhere, all the markets, and legit kind like this, that I'm gonna try in a second. It's a really cool guy close by here that has a winery. Right, 2-minute walk, yeah, 45% alcohol volume. Whew. So, you know what, I didn't look it up. I don't know when the tradition of Chacha started, but I'm thinking it's somewhere around 1000 AD to 1500, something like that, because alcohol distilling didn't start until around then. Actually, it was invented in Syria, of all places, a Muslim place, alcohol distilling, which spread to Ireland and, you know, Ukraine, where they make, in Poland, where they make vodka, and Ireland and Scotland, where they make whiskey, and all the rest of the places, things like that. So this is their local hooch here. And this one we got at a really cool restaurant that we really like. And it's a really nice one because that one is made with honey. So this is made with local honey added to it. Ooh, man, that was nice. Real sweet. It's an interesting honey they have here too. It's a little bit different. Oh man, should I eat this as a palate cleanser? I don't know. This is, maybe it won't be that great on camera, but this is this interesting thing they put on strings here. There's a really cool market called the Green Market in Kutaisi that I go to and find a lot of this stuff. All right. Anyways, back to the story. So in the Roman era, the center, which was not really part of the Roman area, which was known as Lazica or Agrisi, which is more here, but that was more in the east. They were known as Iberia, or the Iberians, which is where their capital city is pretty much where Tbilisi is now. Haven't been there yet. So they're the ones that Christianized, and Saint Nino was a woman's name. One of these churches, writings started becoming big to make, churches were built, writings started becoming big. They're interesting script that I showed you. And writing became big because they had to, you know, write the Bible and the gospel and stuff like that. So now they're Christian to this day, 1700 years later. But all kinds of crazy things happen next. All right, let's try another one of these. So into the Byzantine Times. So if you don't know, my non-history nerds like me, Byzantines, forgot. I have to finish these before I get to the next one. All right. The Byzantines were the Eastern Roman Empire, the Christian Eastern Roman Empire with its headquarters, capital in Constantinople, which is now Istanbul. That pretty much started in 300s AD and the 400s AD because the West, where Rome is, was having a lot of problems and eventually fell to barbarians and disappeared as a state. But the Eastern Roman Empire, the Byzantines, held on for a long time, all the way till 1453. That was a polity, a nation, an empire. Anyways, okay. So this area, super influenced by the Byzantines too, especially this area known as Lazika. And the Byzantines adopted Christianity themselves, and that's where Orthodox Christianity got really, really, really big, was in Constantinople, which is the origin of all Orthodox Christianity, Byzantine. So obviously they're friendly with the Georgians, but who they weren't friendly with, once again, just like the Achaemenid Persian times, battling with the Greeks in this general area, and the Romans battling with the Persians throughout all their history, crazy history. In the Byzantine times, there was the Zoroastrian Persian empires, waste of energy, lots of wars, right? In the history of the world, it's just, I think this picture's in Vietnam. There's a helicopter and the ocean is on fire, and there's another fire back here. You know, it's a waste of energy for several reasons. The environment, all these helicopters and equipment and bombs and everything takes tons of resources to exist and use, and it just pollutes everything, and all these tanks and their diesel fuel. But of course, the lives, you know, it's just, why have war unless it's like really, really necessary? Like it just seems like, in my opinion, since World War II, almost, every single conflict on earth is some kind of proxy war or some, you know, weird thing to grab resources or power. It's just, none of them really seem necessary in a way, I don't know. Oh, including this one right now, man, that's, you know, a good 600 miles from here, like 1,000 kilometers, but, you know, it's about 80 miles from Russian territory, which, you know, I saw a Russian helicopter. Some locals pointed it out to us, Ruski, the other day, probably like 2 or 3 weeks ago when the troop buildup was happening. It was doing a little U shape over the mountains. Oh man, okay. Like usual, all over the place. All right, back to history. So we're talking about the 500s AD. Let's try the legit kind now. So this is, you know, a company that makes Chacha, not like this. The last one I tried was made with honey, but this one I think is just the straight variety. So 500s AD, the Byzantines, maybe I'll change glasses actually, 1 second. All right, so the Byzantine Empire, which, you know, had large swaths of territory in the Balkans and all of modern day Turkey, some of the whole, you know, Jerusalem, Holy Land, you know, parts of North Africa for a time. The Emperor Justin and Justinian were battling all the way to Spain, and parts of Italy and Sicily was coming under the Byzantine sway. So this was also under the Byzantine sway, which was known as Lazika or Igrisi, but it was on the frontiers of the far eastern border of the Eastern Roman Empire. So, and also it was like a client state, not an official province. You know, obviously there were, you know, multicultural, probably mix of people, but mostly the ancestors of Georgians were around. But to the east was the Sassanid Persians, who were Zoroastrian, not Christian, not yet Muslim. That's the next part of the story. So the Zoroastrianism is an interesting ancient religion that not a lot of people know about, and I'm not that well versed about, but it's really cool. They have these temples with fire, and I think the Mazda is their name. Yeah, like the car, Mazda is their main god. So they were trying to get power in this area. And cheers, or Gamarjos. Let's try this one. Let's just do it like how the locals do it, one swoop. Whoa. And we're gonna get to this history. I don't want to be this too long, but oh, look at this coin, USSR. Oh man, it's hard to see. Hold on. 1961 coin from USSR. Man, maybe I'll put a photo of it right here. It's a little bit blurry. CCCP, SSR, Soviet Socialists, United Soviet Socialist Republics. Oh man, no, we're gonna get to that history in a second. Joseph Stalin was Georgian. Whoa, okay. But we're long before that. We're in the 500s AD, the Persians and the Byzantines with this place caught in the middle. So this was a crossroads. Nomadic Professor, another good video I'll shout out. He came here, maybe a few years ago. I forget how many, and made about 4 really good videos about Georgian history. He's a lot smarter than me. He's an actual professor. And he makes better videos than me. And, he's not drinking on video. Family, man. Okay, anyways. Drinking with Ray, what's up? Waste of energy. All right, well, wars in the old days were, different, not mechanized. You had to stab people and arrows, horses, crazy things like that, catapults. Ship warfare was very different. It wasn't with mechanization like this, so it was very different, and all of war has been in human history forever, which is just a primate kind of thing, isn't it? Chimpanzees, and they have little wars. Hey man, you gotta live your life. Drink responsibly out there, everybody, and drink if you're a suitable age. I'm not a saint. We're all not a totally evil sinner. Okay, talking about Christianity, the Georgian Orthodox Church, really cool 1,000-year-old cathedrals right outside the window out there on the hill. That's really awesome. Made some videos about that. All right, well, back to the story. I was running out of space in my phone because I'm the worst content creator, because I film and film and film. I go to historic sites, I explore, I go into local cultures and film everything and talk and live the experiences, but I can't seem to put them together and put it out there for you guys. I'm 2 years behind on so many amazing stories and places that I've been. From Naples, Italy, and that general region, Napoli, to Sicily, to my long stay, 10 months in amazing Albania, Chypria, I love Albania, to North Macedonia, and Skopje, and so much history there, of course, which is related to the Byzantines, and Islam, which we're about to talk about in a second. Spain, España, my time in Spain, talk about history, which is also related to Islam, Al-Andalus. So man, can't wait to make videos about that. I have all this stuff backed up, so it clogs my phone. I have to re-download it when I want to make videos, and it's just, our adventures in Georgia in the last 2 months. I have a bunch of stuff that I never posted anywhere. So all of you that watch or read or do any of my things, huge shout out to you. Gamarjos, cheers. Okay, back to the story. Remember, through this, wine culture was big time here. 6,000 BC, 8,000 years ago, wine, evidence from grapes has been found here. The oldest winemaking culture in the world. All right. So this was a good one. One was honey. This one, 45% alcohol. It's made by Cariba Winery down the street, which is made with double distillation complex high alcohol drink, which gives pleasure and stimulus to customers, and it entertains and cheers not only the organoleptic sensors, but their mental and emotional senses too, which is more important. Ooh, I'm glad I read this. This drink is featured with limpid white color aroma of ripe yellow fruit and almonds. So they used almonds a little bit in this one. The yellow grapes, I think, is what they're talking about. Cool, nice people. We had a music party with them one day where you just walk down there. I love hanging out with the local people everywhere I go. Crazy Californian. California, they know me as, because that's what I always say. All right, so the Persians and the Byzantines, they're battling it out. Shout out to Robin Pearson of the History of Byzantium podcast. I love that show too. Which was the battles were near this region, and many of them were in this region. And the Byzantines held out. Byzantine-backed forces held out in a few places, like this really, really cool place about 2 hours, 1 hour, 1.5 hours east of here that we went to, this ruined site. That was so cool, man. Archaeolopolis. I'm gonna make the video on that soon. They had these huge walls, this ancient town that held out against the Persians, but many of them didn't. So a lot of this area came under Persian sway. Lots of things were destroyed. Let's try another Chacha, because the next part of the story gets intense. Ooh, this one's interesting. Down the hatch, Gamarjoba. That was a really strong, crazy one. Ooh, Woo, that tastes like fire water. Shit. Woo. All right, guys, I'm gonna open up this Argo beer, the local beer named after Jason and the Argonauts ship in the myth, or is it a myth? Did something really happen like that? Who knows? Story. Anyways, I'm a shots and beer guy. I'm not afraid to admit it. Waste of energy. All right. So maybe it was during the time of this kind of guy. There was battles here. This is a local tea. What's cool artwork on it that we got. I like tea. The Sassanid Persians held sway in this area for a long time after that. And then in the 600s to 700s AD, the Arab expansion after the start of Islam, which spread all over the world, came up here too. Really, we're not that far from modern day Syria and Iraq here, and Saudi Arabia and Jordan. It's not that far, really. It's just to the south of here. So that came up here, which worried I'm not sure who this is, but it looks like a priest or something, worried the Christian local people, because the Arabs came in and took over everything for a little while. But that was temporary. They eventually kicked them out, especially of this area. Not Tbilisi actually was under Arab control for a really long time. Oh, here, I got a piece of walnut. All right. So time marches on, and we get into the golden era of Georgia, which starts popping up around 900 to 1000 AD. And I believe it was this guy. He kicked out of the Arabs out of Tbilisi, and Iberia and Caucasus, they weren't called that anymore, but the East and West joined together. And the king Bagrati and all these other interesting people, King David the Builder. It was a golden age for Georgia in the 1000s AD, or about, give or take, the couple centuries around that. So all kinds of amazing monasteries were built, and trade was good, and the economy was good. The main powers were all beating each other up in different areas, like to the north of here, the Kievan Rus, which, I didn't talk about. A lot of interesting things happened to the north of here, the Scythians and the Alans and all kinds of nomadic peoples, an interesting thing. But the Kievan Rus were, if that name sounds familiar, Kiev, Ukraine, was one of their capitals. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but they were actually Vikings that went down there. Vikings went all over the place, England and Ireland and Italy and all kinds of, all over the, Vikings had huge, Scandinavian peoples had huge influence, just like the Germanic peoples had huge influence on things who took over the Western Roman Empire. Germanic and Scandinavian peoples went into the area of modern day Ukraine and Russia, or not whole of Russia, but parts of it. And they mingled and mixed and kind of ruled over the local Slavic people and started little principalities and kingdoms called the Kievan Rus. So that was to the north of here. So they had all kinds of influence and things. They Christianized also. Cheers. But during all that, in this insulated territory of Georgia, they were having a golden age of Georgia. But I'll make more videos on that soon. But then comes in Genghis Khan and the Mongols. Ooh. So the Georgians, I think, unified with the Armenians and some different people when they heard about Batu Khan in the 1200s and the Mongolians coming in here who conquered half the world basically. And they took over this area, the Mongols. Somehow, through the mountains. I don't know, man. There's not a lot of documentation of that. I have to research it more, but how the Mongols and their horse archers and stuff came through the mountains, just swept over both the Caucasus Mountain ranges and went into areas of Ukraine and Russia. Now, they took over everything somehow. It's crazy. So then the Mongols ruled this region for a long time, part of something called the Golden Horde. So when the Mongol Empire broke up to different pieces like the Yuan dynasty of China, and there was two other pieces, but the region here and north of here was something called the Golden Horde, which lasted a long time until like the 1400s. But eventually the local people kicked them out, and that was the starting of the Russian Empire, actually, which is a whole nother story. That definitely is related to here. And I haven't researched what happened in medieval Georgia exactly, but I know the Ottomans from Turkey had some influence over this region a little bit. And eventually in the 1800s, this became part of the Russian Empire, long before the USSR, which, I have all kinds of varieties of things here, huh? This one was rough. Which it remained for, a really long time, 200 years, through into the time of the Russian Revolution and the USSR. There's a USSR coin that I have, pretty intense, for me being American and the whole Cold War and just everything that's going on right now. Oh man, you can't see it. I have friends in both Ukraine, Russia, Belarus, people that I know online, all kinds of countries and things, and discuss history. Anyways, this guy I know in Moscow, he told me when he was a kid, he used to be able to buy 2 ice creams with this coin, a 5 konchik, something like that. Cool. Okay, so Georgia was influenced a lot by those times, and one of their greatest leaders, the infamous, really kind of crazy in a lot of ways, but who battled the Nazi Germany advance on this region of the world. Well, not him, but his armies. Joseph Stalin is from Georgia, a little town called Gorgy. Rose from humble beginnings to one of the most powerful people ever in history. Millions and millions of people died under his watch. It's really kind of crazy, but just over there, about 30-minute drive, is one of his favorite spas that we went to. We went there. So that was built in the 1950s after World War II. And him and his best generals would go there and relax. It was a hot springs spa over there. So it was a really bizarre place. We went and did the whole springs and the mud bath and everything. And they massage you with this thing. It was very Soviet in there. It was very strange. All right, so we're fast forwarding to a lot of history here. But, you know, Soviet Union, Cold War, all that stuff. I'll eat this now. This thing's so weird. Whoop. Hello. Okay. The Soviet Union, you know, take what you will. It was a thing for a really long time. After World War II, in World War II, there was no fighting here, but something like 600,000 Georgians died on the Eastern Front in World War II, fighting the Nazis and their allies. That's crazy. That's like so many people, man. Rest in peace. Like just World War II was not a waste of energy. That was, well, I guess if you add in World War I and the consequences in World War II starting, it was really just a bunch of fuck-ups, man. What were people thinking? It was the end and the crushing of the old world and turning into this monster of a crazy world we have now. World War II was big time. Just over there, they have a monument, 1941 to 1945, for all the Georgians who died, and a bunch of other stuff. I've been to Berlin. I saw the Soviet monuments of how, when they took Berlin. I saw the spot where Hitler committed suicide in Berlin. It was right outside my apartment that I lived there. World War II was so intense. It was the worst time in all of history. It affected Georgia. There's no battles here, but lots of Georgians were involved in that. So let's talk about post-World War II. That's kind of like a podcast, huh? Drinking with Ray. Hello. I used to have a podcast. It was a hip-hop based show. Rap music. Yeah. All right. Anyways, this is a little different. So... After World War II, with the starting of the nuclear world into the 60s and 70s, people in Georgia definitely were probably freaked out often of the threat of nuclear war and probably lived under some crazy oppression. But, you know, maybe some things were good for some people. I don't know. I'm not one to judge. I didn't live that time in these places. There's a lot of people here under age, I guess, 30, 35 that remember those times. I'm sorry, over the age of 35. Over, you know, people in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Woman next door here, I'm pretty sure is about 90 years old. Hello, Gamarjoba. She's nice. I make her laugh all the time. Interesting family that lived next to us. They've probably been here forever. This building definitely was here during the Soviet times. That we're renting out. Super grateful to be here. It's an interesting, unforgettable time of life. Georgian snack. Okay, so, you know, the Cold War and all that stuff is really crazy. Joseph Stalin loved his Georgian wine. He has a favorite brand that still exists. And fast forward through the Cold War and all that craziness, which shapes the world that we live in today and all the problems that we're dealing with. 1991, Georgia gained its independence. Don't know if I have the exact date right, but I'm pretty sure. And, you know, the former Soviet republics had their problems getting it together, corruption, politics. I'm not an expert on that either, but 2008, there was a war with Russia here. There were some rebel territories in an area called Abkhazia and South Ossetia, which are still manned by Russian troops, and a chunk of Georgia, which is kind of right here, up there. Chunk of Georgia is not right here, this part and this part. Two chunks of Georgia are not under their own control anymore, but Russia since 2008. And it was a quick war, 5 days, and there was a peace agreement, but people died and suffering happened. People had to flee. We met a woman that had to flee her home area. She's Abkhazian. We stayed with her in the mountains in the Svaneti area and at her house. We stayed the night there. I'm gonna have another shot. Let's have the honey one. I was just, I was talking with her about it and she started tearing up. She had to flee her home and she could never go back. She had good English. Excuse me, burp on camera. This is crazy drinking with Ray in war times. Anyways, fast forward to now, Georgia has existed as its own state and its own thing going on, its own proud culture. It's ancient traditions, from the Christianity to the wine to the ancient cultures, going through so much, Ottomans and Russians coming in here battling people, Ottomans, Persians, Arabs, Muslims, Romans, just everything. The Caucasus. Oh, shit. Woo. This video is getting long, guys. All these drinks are starting to hit me. Thank you for watching. I'm here, 2022, March 4th. Peace. Nakwandis is how you say goodbye in Georgian. Nakwandis. All right. Thanks for drinking with Ray. 6000 BC, the most ancient wine culture in the world. 8,000 years old. All kinds of crazy things happen through history that I love. I've been here for 2 months in my digital nomad crazy life that it's fun, but sometimes stressful. And I just hope for the best, man. This is my video of the day that I wanted to make today. And I hope you have a good day. If alcohol isn't your thing and doesn't work for you, don't drink. Alcohol could cause a lot of problems. It's true. But there's no doubt about it that it's intertwined with the history of humanity in the world. And there's no denying that. The main reason why it's legal in much of the world is because of that ancient tradition, in business too. Compared to other substances like marijuana, which is illegal in still most of the world, which is basically harmless, a lot more harmless than this. They could cause some problems, some addiction, and psychosis, and some different things. Your lungs get damaged, but alcohol is far more deadly and dangerous than marijuana, in my opinion. Waste of energy. Protect the planet. Don't kill each other. Do what you got to do. This is Ray, 2022, 39 years old. It's been an interesting existence in my life. It's a whole story to tell. I love telling this story. That's it. Knock one of these. Goodbye.